Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. It took me a second. Today is going to be a fun one because I actually have a guest joining me today. But before we get into that, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the stream in helping me get to 1K subs by my birthday in March. I think we can do it. I think as a team, we can get me there. Today we are covering episode 9 and 10 of season 1 of X-Files, Space and Fallen Angels, and spoiler alert, another week goes by and another episode I don't like. But without further ado, let me bring on Jacob. Oh, hold on, Jacob. Sorry. StreamYard and I are not friends. Hi, Jacob. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, I've been looking forward to this. This is going to be fun. Thanks for having me.
You also cover... Oh, yeah, absolutely. I am all about having people on to ramble about conspiracy theories through the X-Files, but you also cover the X-Files on your channel as well. So,
yes.
I think you and I agree on one of these episodes being a meh. A little bit.
The second episode, it's like half and half for me.
Okay.
But yeah,
okay.
This will be fun.
Yeah. So per normal, just standard conversation, nothing too critical on it. I'll bring up the episode, we'll dive into it, but before we get into all that, let me say hi to the chat. Rio's first thing here. Morning, Nadia. Hope you're doing well today. I am doing well, thank you. Tom, refresh my memory because I remember 0 of these episodes. Well, Space is really cool. Fallen Angel, not so much. It was a great stream and interview. Thank you. Yeah. Brandon was so awesome. My co-host Leon was amazing. So I think he'll be back on again shortly. Zax, do you believe Zax alien? And then Leon, I think I'm going to title my autobiography The X-Files. It explains why I'm so retarded with women. Thank you for the $10 super chat, Leon. You did not have to. And for you, let me see. I'll give you this one. Polly's in here. Polly actually wants to join for a couple of the episodes too. I did send him the schedule, so he can't complain anymore. He does have the schedule on it. Who else we got in here? Hi, Rick. Cool. Good morning. And Zax, I want to believe. Adding that one to the X-Files. Okay. All right. Episode 9, titled Space.
I just wanted to say 2 things.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Your intro. The woman pulling her hand off the nail gets me every time.
I know that everybody says that. Yeah. My intro.
And the X-Files. There are some episodes in that you're gonna love. Clips of episodes you're gonna love those episodes.
So Vex did my intro and outro for the show, the Horror with Nadia, and my outro, but she also does all my my X-Files. She did that one. She did also my From one and my Penguin one. So she's an awesome person to reach out to. Really great rates on creating those because I can't edit worth shit. I just can't. I don't have the equipment properly to do so, and what I have just frustrates me. So she's amazing at it. So she did that for me, and I told her you can put anything about the X-Files in there because I don't know what belongs to what episode. So she just put that together and it was great. Yeah, she does an amazing job on it. So shout out to Vex. She's probably asleep or at work, one of the two. All right. So episode 9, Space, aired November 12th, 1993. It was directed by William Gran, written by Chris Carter as per usual. When a space shuttle mission is sabotaged, Mulder suspects it may be the work of an alien spirit that inhabits the body of a former Gemini astronaut. Which is interesting because I read actually a description before going to IMDb that made it seem like General Belt, I think it's Colonel Belt, was found dead. But I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense because he's throughout the episode. So whoever wrote that description didn't know what they were talking about. So,
No.
off the bat, what do you think of this episode, Jacob?
Yes.
Let me pull this up a little bit. I liked this episode. It creeped me out a little bit. The idea of, I like the fact that they used the alien, but it's almost a ghost in a sense, so it's almost spiritual. That could lead down the conspiracy theory of the fact that aliens could be angels or aliens could be demons. That's my conspiracy hat being put onto it. But
Yes.
what do you think of this episode initially? When you watched it for the first time, if you remember?
That's a long time ago. I mean, I started watching from episode 1 as they came out. So, yeah. But yeah, very interesting. I remember the face of the entity is like the face on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being part of it. But yeah, it was an interesting episode. When it came out, I probably didn't get as much out of it than when I later watched it. But yeah, it gets you. If you into more heady stuff, this one will get you, I think.
It builds the suspense pretty well. I was worried we were just going to get another episode about an alien craft, but it builds the tension, and it did scare me in certain points to imagine thinking that one of our astronauts could, in a sense, be possessed, brought back down to Earth. I mean, this is a common story told throughout sci-fi, right? An alien possesses, or I mean, even Invincible right now has a character that had that happen to them. Alien possesses somebody, comes back to Earth, and could sabotage things down here. Or there's been stories of them like trying to multiply down here with humans, right? There's always been this type of story. So the fact that people we should trust with these very expensive equipments, with other people's lives on top of it, because that was a point of this episode too. It's not only dealing with the fact that this ghost is possessing him, Colonel Belt, that we see on screen. It's also the fact that Colonel Belt's in charge of these astronauts that are being sabotaged and being able to bring them back to Earth safely. Wasn't that the story of the astronaut's wife? That's one of them. Yeah. I believe in Nadia. Thank you. At least somebody does. Thank you, Dieter. Welcome. So I liked. Go ahead.
In the trivia for it, it actually the first mission where they come, or the mission actually mirrors Gemini 8 mission, which ended in a similar way. It's just like they were like spinning uncontrollably and they had to abort the mission. It's crazy. So it's kind of cool that they did that.
It said also there's although the series made a good amount of inexpensive stock footage from NASA, the construction of the commander center on set for this was a subject to cost overruns, leading the episode to become the most expensive, as you were telling me backstage, for the first season.
Yep.
Which is surprising to me that this is the most expensive episode just based off the set building. Where I've seen the episode like Ice. Ice to me, I felt was a higher production than some of the episodes I've seen. The one that's like almost based off The Thing or the similar story from last week. But yeah, I'm surprised. But why?
Most of the episodes are like filmed on location, actual locations that are already there, so they don't have to build anything. So that kind of understandable, that one. I mean, the Ice one that was just done in I don't know, what looked like a storeroom almost.
Yeah, and it's probably because they layered the different props and set pieces that helped kind of gave you that feel that they were in an isolated facility. Plus the really bad CGI snow that they would show scenes of.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we're fine for the back in the day. Hello, people. Hi, Cannoli, Jana, Mrs. Sassy. Tom said, but why didn't they make more X-File Hollywood movies? How many X-File movies are there?
I don't know. I
How
think
many
there's two or
X-File
three.
movies? 2 movies in the X-File franchise. X-Files 1998 and then X-Files I Want to Believe 2008. How do you feel about the fact that they're going to be rebooting this from scratch? Not
Eh,
continuing it, just rebooting it.
they can't. It won't. It's not going to be up to the quality. The writing, the storytelling is really good in these older episodes, and just yeah, I don't think that's not going to be good.
I agree with you. I think there's a couple issues that I think what they're going to do. I think visually it's going to look better because it's going to be updated, and I think they're going to put a lot of money and time into the visual parts of it, right? Because
Right.
as even though I think it still holds up as a first time watcher watching through this, I still think the effects hold up because they're all mostly practical. This is the day and age of
Right.
stuff I learned. So I think visually it'll probably be a lot more darker and a lot, I don't know, updated, but I don't think the story will be there because I think the reason why the series itself works so well is because it balanced the fact that it has cheesy effects with a good story. So the story keeps you hooked enough that when you see like these horrible CGI effects, um, and I'm sure at the time they were good, but nowadays there's better. Uh, I think that's the
Yeah.
problem that they're going to lose. Plus, I don't see them being able to do 22 episodes per season because nowadays
No.
it's like 8 to 13 episodes per season. And
And
even
two,
these are like 48
costs have
minutes
gone
long.
up too.
Yep. Yep.
Costs have gone up for filming and too, so that's even crazier. Yeah, that's what's it's going to be. It's going to be poor writing, storytelling, and it's going to look good. That's about it.
And I also don't think the chemistry, it's going to be interesting to see who they cast as the 2 leads because Mulder and Scully in
Right.
this, Anderson and what's his last name? I can never say it.
Duchovny.
David Duchovny, thank you,
Duchovny.
has
Yeah.
such good chemistry between the two of them. I don't think I've ever seen
Yeah.
such well
And
chemistry in the last 10, 15 years between two
they
individuals
they
like
were
on a
the
TV
first
series.
picks too, and
Yeah,
for
yeah,
them
because
to
she was
just immediately hit it off, that's great.
and she was pregnant too, so she had to hide her pregnancy during audition.
Right.
And if they had such poor chemistry, I think they once they found out she was pregnant, they probably would have recasted her. Uh, but
Probably. Yeah.
yeah, such great chemistry between it. And it's shown in this episode too. Just again, the back and forth of Mulder always believing like right away in the supernatural, uh, and researching and having that experience where Scully is very much a realistic person, logical in a sense. But it always counteracts to me because she wears a cross, and I'm sure that will come up to later on in the series. But she's obviously believes in some sort of religion that believes in miracles in a
Right.
sense. So I think it's a good balance for her. In a sense, she's just trying to, in a sense, become Mulder as I watch this episode go through. Uh Dieter just
Yeah.
gifted 1 Nadia membership. I love that it's called Nadia. Thank you so much. Nadia's seen the foreshadowing. Am I? I'm trying really hard not to read into anything. For that 1 membership, thank you so much, Dieter. You know what? I think we all deserve
Afternoon, ladies.
Afternoon, Billy.
Take the new suit, Mrs. Wheeler.
Thank you.
it. I don't have any X Files books. So sorry. But yeah, so with this episode opening up with this, when I saw this face in the ceiling, I was like, oh man, I've slept under these like popcorn ceilings. You see faces in them all the time.
Yeah.
You can pick out faces in the
Yeah.
tiles. Yeah. uh oh,
My ceiling's
correction.
like that.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Polly. Gillian Anderson became pregnant in 1994, about a month after she married the art director Clyde Klotz. Anderson discovered her pregnancy while filming The X-Files, which surprised many people, including the show's creator, Chris Carter. Okay, well, explains all the awesome pantsuits and the really big thing. So that dude was for me. I'm well, shoulder pads and stuff. Yeah. All right, so the episode continues. So we get the flashbacks in the beginning of the first failed mission, and how Mulder and Scully become part of this episode is that I believe her name is Michelle, who comes in to the FBI and shows that the current mission right now she thinks is being sabotaged. So they give them this X-ray, and I forgot what the piece is called for the spaceship. It looks like it's being sabotaged. By the way, this episode is a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb rating, but the next one has a higher rating, which surprises me a lot.
Yeah, I found that too. That their ratings on IMDb are not right.
So they recently, Mulder and Scully traveled to Houston after the NASA employee Michelle shows them evidence that the space shuttle may have been sabotaged. They recently had to abort a launch just seconds before liftoff, and another launch is now scheduled. The man in charge of the program is legendary Gemini astronaut Colonel Marcus Belt. He claims there's nothing to be scrubbed. There's nothing to the scrubbed launch that they weren't aware of, and talk of sabotage is nonsense. We later find out it's the alien in him that is, in a sense, sabotaging what's going on with these.
Right.
The second launch goes off without any problems, but the ground control soon encounter difficulties communicating with the craft. It is all related to what happened to Belt during his last Gemini flight, and now is affecting his judgment. So in a sense, this is a sci-fi possession movie.
Yeah.
Not movie, sorry, episode. In a sense.
Right.
Very well acted too.
Yeah, and look at the set there. The set there for Mission Control. They did a really good job on that.
Let's see if I can find. Where did I just lost it. It should be. One second here. Get through the opener. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, and plus by building it, they probably could reuse it for later seasons too. Just change it around and such.
Yeah.
Or use pieces from it.
Yeah, I can just see how they did those boards. Just probably just cut out holes with reflective, like colored plastic, and then light through it. I mean that's what it
like
looks
lenses. When they put over camera lenses or light lenses to change the color?
No, the actual boards on the buttons and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see what you mean.
They probably did that, yeah.
Yeah,
but it really does work.
They had to build those block sets too.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like it. It looks... I've never seen the inside of NASA. Anybody has in the comments, please let me know. But this looks pretty legit. Pretty legit. The only thing that's throwing me off, and it's probably because they either ran out of money or time, is if you look at the back wall here, they still have like the pegs for the drywall or something holding that wall up, instead of it's not a finished wall. So,
right.
But that's me who looks for stuff like that. So,
I mean, if you're just watching the episode, you're not gonna really see that. But if you're like doing what we're doing, going like frame by frame, you're gonna notice things.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. So key events is Mulder and Scully visits the training facility where they observe the current astronaut team, who seems to experience I keep calling Belt describing he's having like psychological disturbances. And then there's also later on the episode that this alien type ghosting tries to run her off the road, in a sense. Later on too. Here she is. That is Michelle popping up, going behind her supervisor's back, being like, listen, there's something goofy going on. I love these episodes that people are like, hey, we really need the X-Files in here to figure this out.
Yeah, right.
To
Yes.
figure why this guy is sabotaging things. He plays in interest. I think he's been in a lot of things. I feel like his face I've seen in other movies and TV shows. Let me see. Let me see.
Yeah.
Ed Lauder. Yeah. He plays a good villain, I think.
Yep.
Or he should be. So looking through his IMDb, a lot of TV shows. I didn't know he was in Shameless at some point. Interesting. Oh, and an interesting Jim Carrey horror movie, The Number 23. Huh. I think everybody's performance in this episode was really well done. I was
Cujo.
pleasantly surprised. Yeah, look at that face. Oh yeah, you're right. Everybody's chemistry on this, like everything, because there's episodes where they have side characters that I can tell are just like one-off liners that just don't fit well with the main cast. Like there's like Ghost in the Machine, his former partner. It felt really it felt like a really weird chemistry between him and his former partner. Almost I hate to say romantic, but it kind of like the soft music, it just didn't fit. Yeah, it just didn't fit really.
Yeah.
For me. And
right.
It just didn't come off like the chemistry that he has with Scully, which in my head, he should have better chemistry with his former partner if he spent so many years with him, even if they decide to go different paths. Yeah. So some of the actors just don't vibe very well, I feel. It's not that it's a bad episode or they're not doing a good job. It's just the chemistry is not there. Where I feel this episode kind of synced in very well with the additional cast.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think aliens could be ghosts? Ghosts could be aliens?
Or demons? That's
or angels?
That's what I think they are. Personally, that's what I think they are. They're demons or angels.
Or they could be, in a sense, back in the biblical times when people would write about seeing angels, they actually saw aliens.
No, I'm on the side that they're demons or angels, but they could also be just made up by the government. That could be a possibility too.
I think the current UFO information that we are getting in the last 5 years, where the government is just like releasing it, I think partially it's made up and partially it's just a distraction. It's just a distraction.
Yeah.
To distract everybody to focus on.
Yeah.
Watch this stream get cut. Listen, allegedly, YouTube, okay? I think
allegedly.
we don't. I think we are not the only.
That's how we always talk. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly, YouTube. Allegedly. I think it's in a sense egotistic to think we are the only species to exist in a universe that is so vastly huge. Whether you believe in religion, because I'm Catholic, I believe God created everything in a sense, but it doesn't mean that God just created us. He could have created other species on different planets. The galaxy is so vast. We don't even have space travel ability. We don't know what really is out there. So we don't know if there's another planet that has advanced society, which we're leading into, that has space travel. Like there's so much unansweredness out there that I think it's very hard pressed to believe that we are the only ones to be existing in this universe. That being said, I think our concept of aliens, I agree with you, are either demons or angels or some kind of supernatural thing happening. Because a lot of the times people see these things in a moment of distress So I think that kind of opens you up to be able to see these things. This is just my tinfoil hat. And for the aliens, we are the aliens. It's
Yeah.
too far away. Aliens are not here, but maybe they watch us from afar. I don't know. There's a lot of things, but I don't think what the government has been releasing. Maybe not. Who knows? Alaska supposedly is the highest amount, or at one point I read that Alaska had the highest amount of reported alien abductions. However, it's also at the time one of the highest states to have substance abuse and drug abuse. So that could also correlate with it too. Also, look at how when people take like things like DMT and psychedelic drugs, they see things and they all seem to see the same thing. So maybe, and instead of space travel, we should look into. I'm getting really deep in the weeds here, into like parallel world traveling. Figuring out that stuff. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
My brain is just everywhere on that stuff.
Yeah.
So it turns out that this thing was actually sabotaged. This alien, for some reason, doesn't want the payload, which I never understood what it was. What is the payload that they're releasing out into space?
I don't know. I don't think they ever explained what exactly it is.
I think it's a satellite. It looked like a satellite that they were putting in place.
Yeah, it might have been. Not sure. So yeah, this was a kind of cool part.
Oh,
Heavy
with
rain is like
Mhm.
trying to see through the rain, and then his face just comes at her.
I think I can pull it back to it. Try not, because I know Disney's very. Okay, give it a second. Tom said
That's
all
right.
aliens
They have
abduct
Disney.
were people with problems. Would you abduct them? I don't know. I think it's like right. Give it a second. I play a little and then we talk for a few minutes and then I play it again so that YouTube doesn't
Yeah.
knock me, because Disney is really, because this is now owned by Disney because it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I don't think this is to be done well, because Disney's going to be doing the reboot. I'm cautiously optimistic. It'll also depend on who. Right there. Oh.
Ooh.
I think.
Yeah, that would make you go off the road.
Yeah. In the rain like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. A ghost alien thing. Yeah. It would. That's why I'm cautiously optimistic about this reboot, because I don't think Disney has it in them. It's also going to depend on
No.
who the showrunner and writers are going to be for it, too.
Yeah.
And I think you have to have a
They're
passion.
going to do the Disney-fied version of X-Files.
Yes. If they reboot the series, the actors chosen are crucial to its success. I agree.
Yeah.
I love Ghost. Like this episode of Ghost, or like Ghost with Patrick Swayze. I mean, either's a fine answer, Tom. I'm not judging. I think it's the writers for the reboot have to have not only a passion for this IP and like be a fan of it, but they also have to have a passion for conspiracy theories and stuff. Because conspiracy theories back in the early 90s for this have advanced way differently than they are now, people. Real ghosts.
I mean, you can see that through the seasons of this, how conspiracy changes.
Yes.
Through
and
the
it's
11
interesting.
years of episodes.
It's interesting to me that each episode, it makes me want to dive more deep into what the conspiracy that they're basing this off of versus the actual episode. But Tom, you just gave me a great idea. I'm going to start a poll. Do you believe aliens are ghosts or demons? Ghosts. Demons, and then we'll add a third option. Angels. Start a poll. Thank you, Tom. So everybody watching over on the YouTube side, there is a poll now up there. If you'd like to vote, those of you watching on X, you're lurking on X, creeping on X, come on over to the YouTube side as well. So, okay. Back then, conspiracy theories were considered cooks. Today, not so much. I mean, I think today they're still considered cooks. It just depends on which theory, because I've said that on this show before. I've gone down the deep rabbit hole of flat Earth conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Yeah. Where I've come to my husband and I've said, I think I'm a flat earther. And my husband's like, no, you're not. That's the one. He's like, no, you're not. So
No, you're not.
mostly gins. Yeah. Doc, that's a good point. Fays. Yeah. I should have put that. Yes, cooks. Italian cooks.
Zach should do an episode. Zach should do an episode on flat earthers.
Zax, if you do an episode on flat
hilarious.
earthers, but you need like people who are going to argue for it and people who are going to argue against it.
Yeah.
Most people are going to argue against it, but you need people who will come on, even if they don't believe on it, just argue from the flat earther side. Or, Zax, if you're still here, find a flat earther. See if they're willing to come on.
Yeah.
And have a conversation. Zax always knows like the oddest individuals across YouTube, which normally most of the time they're very cool, except for me, but most of the time they're very cool. So sometimes he'll pull people on shows that I've never met, and I'm like, okay, all right. Zax just likes to be friends with everybody, and that is cool. Let's do it. All right, so let's move on to the episode. So she also had seen the ghost face. Most of the episode goes back and forth of Mulder and Scully trying to find a reason why this launch could have been sabotaged, who sabotaged, and trying to find the links to the previous missions that Belt was on. Right. Zach says he is guilty. The big difference between those, Rick, is I'm a good cook, but I can't cook. I'll give the flat earthers one thing. They are passionate. They are passionate. Do you know what?
They are.
Though, Rick, when I listen to them talk, sometimes they make sense. I'm like, you know what? That really yeah, why does it? Like, yeah. And then I remember science exists, and I'm like, oh. So, like, I don't think there's like an ice wall that's stopping us from going over, but on the counter end, I do believe that they're hiding stuff in the Antarctic and storing things there. So can't win them all.
And every window and every camera lens is rounded to make the Earth look round.
I haven't heard that one before. That's interesting. And also, I like how they're like, why, if the Earth was round, why when things like plane right, you're going this way? Why is it you're just flying straight? And I'm like, that's called science, guys. So I agree with the answer. Yeah, allegedly they're hiding a bunch of stuff up there, I believe, from us. Please explain, yes. Doc. I'm not from the us.
The hollow Earth.
I also like towards the mid part of this episode where he gets. So what happens is something hits the actual spaceship that they're on. They're starting to lose oxygen on it. What the episode plays out is that the alien ghost leaves Belt in the middle of the night and goes to hit it or something. Dude has super speed, man, to be able to go that far up and come back.
Yeah.
But basically cause it. They're fine once Belt gets back in. Using his knowledge of his previous missions, he's able to have everything stabilized on it too. It's not until there was a second issue that comes in that Michelle's like, we have to bring these guys down. The reason why they keep hesitating is because NASA put a lot of money into this mission. If this mission fails, releasing the satellite, they're going to pull funding. So they're trying to stop from pulling funding. So there's also a theme of, is are these men's lives worth sacrificing by potentially losing them just so that we can continue the mission to space, or are they not? Back and forth. Michelle, I think, is the little angel on the shoulder, basically saying like, no, one human life is not worth sacrificing just to have funding for NASA, in a sense.
Yeah. Plus, one of the crew is her fiance.
Right. That would play a little bit more into it too. So, yeah.
Something interesting to think about, because NASA is like in the public eye, they talk in code. Like if there's something wrong with the space shuttle or they're having technical difficulties, they're talking in code, so nobody knows that there's a problem.
That's interesting.
So they could also be talking in code here.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Now I'm gonna have to go back and watch the episode again.
I don't know. I don't know that for sure if they're doing it in this show, but it's interesting to think about as you're watching this.
Okay. Yeah. Also, isn't there the conspiracy theory that NASA originally was supposed to explore the oceans, but they decided to switch to space?
I don't know.
You don't know that conspiracy? So it's a conspiracy.
Yeah, I've heard it. I just don't know about it.
Yeah. So apparently NASA was created to explore the oceans because our oceans are only explored a certain percentage that we know of, mostly because it's almost physically impossible to go further down, right? Depth down. But the conspiracy theory is that NASA started exploring the ocean, got terrified of what they saw in the ocean, so decided to change their output to finding a way to get off the planet. So that's why they turned their eyes to scares.
Let's go to space.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Let's get everybody off this planet because of what we saw down there. So that's one of the theories too. Hi, Chris.
Cthulhu is down there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, could be. We don't know what ancient beings could be down there. I've seen Pacific Rim, so who knows? I do like when he loses his mind in the middle of the night when the thing is leaving him. And for a while, when he entered his hotel room and he was drinking out of this bottle, the vodka side wasn't shown. It just looked like, I was like, this dude is chugging some water real fast. And then when he set it down and it was vodka, I was like, oh. Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Long night. Vodka. Hard night, I guess. Less creatures to fight in space for now. Well, it was even...
It's like he knows when it leaves his body, it's going to go do something bad.
Yes.
It's weird. It's like he's there are times he's aware of it and then times that he's not aware of it. It's interesting.
Could it be that this thing is just keeping his subconscious just like, it just peaks of it is coming through to where he just when he is aware of it, it's just the creature's inability to have complete control over them. So he's able to kind of fight through and have like moments of clarity, and it's just few and far between because it's almost exhausting because they're in a sense they're sharing the same body too. Right. So yeah, he loses his ever-loving mind when he fallen asleep in this. I love the CGI in the face. And we get a flashback to when his mission where this thing collides with him. Space is just an interesting thing. It is terrifying, the idea. I don't know what's worse, being lost in the middle of the ocean or being lost in, well, I guess being lost in the middle of space. Because at least in the ocean, you're on a planet. Space, you don't even know where you're going.
If you're in deep space and you have an oxygen problem, oh well. I mean, at least in the ocean, you have a way to get to oxygen.
Yeah, but if you're gonna go either way, if you're gonna go either way, you're probably gonna go faster in space versus being starved to death or dehydration in the ocean. So even though your oxygen might go in space, you're going quick. Ocean, you're going to be laying there for suffering.
or your kit bashed submarine will implode in seconds, in less than
Oof.
a second.
Yeah. Yeah, that was dark. That was last year, wasn't it? The beginning of last year? I think the sub
I think so.
exploded. Yeah. Wow. It feels a while back. Oh, by the way, when Mulder asked Michelle for access to her records, a Star Wars doc is visible on the computer screen. This episode takes place between 1977 and 1993 with the flashback to his original mission to now. And the interior shots were filmed on a set constructed in an old brewery site.
Interesting.
This was intended to be a bottle episode to save money on being shot in a single location, but it still went over budget because of the building of everything. You need Nadia when you're adrift in the ocean. I would be no help. I conspiracy check with Grok says NASA's always primarily for space and created in response to Soviet launch of Sputnik. Of course, Grok is not going to give you the real answer, Chris. It's going to give you what the government wants you to know. All right. Grok isn't pro conspiracy theory. All right. Stop. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a conspiracy theory or you have a brain like I do, marry somebody who keeps you grounded. Because there are some things that I go way out there, and Chris is like, come back to Earth, Nadia. Come back. And it flows out. Oh, look at this thing. I will say, it's pretty cool, interesting. The CGI is not horrible for a TV show.
No,
And it just, I love this. This creeps me out where he's like reaching out to him.
and
As
you
it
know, it's
leaves.
not like CGI. This is like in camera stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, because
too.
CGI wasn't popular back then. It was too expensive to use for TV shows.
This when
frequently.
X-Files came out, it was the height of practical effects. So it was really good effects. So they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I always say when watching these episodes, especially when I get like the creature episodes and seeing the type of special effects and practical effects they use, these are the individuals that taught me. This is the generation that I was taught by, of the latex and layering and the coloring and stuff. So
Right.
I think for the most part, I have not seen an episode that doesn't not hold up as well in some modern day times. I mean, even one of my favorite movies of all time is The Thing, and The Thing's special effects hold up better today than some practical effects and CGI that are used in movies in the last 5 to 10 years. Because there's time and effort into it, and because they're using things that I grew up where you had to use stuff around the kitchen, you find just random stuff. We didn't have like these 3D mold kits and ability to buy this stuff pre-made. You made everything by hand.
Yeah, if you needed to make it, you just went to the hardware store or the grocery store.
I made a vomit machine because I had to do a scene where a possessed bride sprays vomit on her wedding party, and I built it. And when I initially built it with somebody who had helped me, we built it too powerful, almost like a power wash.
Oh, no.
So we had to like scale it back. But I remember my car smelled like pea soup for like weeks. And we just covered the dance floor with like, because she like stands up and she protects vomit. So what we did, camera trick, was we had the vomit gun, as I like to call it, to the side of her head, where you only see her. So when she opens her mouth and we hit the lever, it just like sprays all. And this is low budget, so we didn't have the stuff to be able to hook like directly to her mouth and stuff. And it just covered the dance floor of all her guests. It was a lot of fun, but again, it smelled like pea. I'll never eat pea soup after that ever again.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We went to the hardware store. We went and got like plumbing tubing and stuff like that. Everything was made from scratch. Even like certain effects, like eyeballs, I would make for another movie. I had to make from scratch. Like you don't go and just buy prosthetic eyeballs like now you do nowadays. I had to figure out the right size, coloring. KY jelly was used for a lot of things to make it look wet and it stick to it and
Yep.
gross. So you just used stuff you could find. It's not like nowadays where there's specialty companies that do prosthetics and make makeup kits, and you have like these palettes you can buy. Everything is like kind of put together in the generation I grew up with. Like I'm post like the Tom Savini generation, where those guys who learned from like Tom Savini and were working full time in the early 90s like this are the people who taught me. So I'm from that generation.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
those are years and years of knowledge that were passed down, and
Yep.
we're losing that stuff today.
We are, especially because I think people too much rely on the pre-made. Now, no shade to pre-made kits and stuff, but I think a lot of people, it doesn't allow people to be creative. I think in sets, so like for
Right.
when I would do monster makeups or zombie makeups, and sometimes I didn't have stuff, I had to like think on my feet of like, how do I make this look darker? How do I make this look aged and stuff? Go outside, start scruffing things on dirt and like stuff. So I think too much is handed to people nowadays. Now don't get me wrong, there are quite amazing now special effects artists out there. The guy who
Yeah.
did and I can't think of his name, but the werewolves movie that came out last year, all those werewolves were practical effects on them, all built, and they looked amazing. So there are some guys who are just phenomenal makeup artists out there. I just
Yeah.
think people don't realize you have to hustle and grind to get to those points. People think, oh, because I can do really cool zombie makeup or really cool vampire makeup and stuff, I should be a special effects artist. It's not like that. I had to,
No.
I remember I would work on big
Things
time movies
things
that I
read
would.
things read different on camera
Mhm.
than they do in real life.
Yep.
So you got to account for that.
And also I was coming in around the time where film was switching mostly to digital at the time too, as well. So it's different. So I learned where film is valuable, it's more expensive to shoot on. So when you set up a shot, you don't get like 5 or 6 times to attempt to do this. We have at least maybe 1 or 2 times, where digital you
Yeah.
can do it as many
Right.
times as you'd like. But people don't realize like I remember I would work on movies, big time movies. But I thought I knew my stuff. I would just be told to go wash brushes. Like you have to grind to get to these points and work to these points. It does not happen overnight, and you have to always constantly be learning too. Always studying things. People don't realize when I do creature design, and I know there are animals that are based off the creature that I'm doing the design for. I'm studying those animals, the texture, the colors, and stuff. So it's more than just throwing makeup on a face or building a vomit gun or something. There's technical to it. So so he comes back and he basically has a breakdown after he's able to save these astronauts, not once but twice the effect, still able to do the payload. Nadia, try to read this. Tom Pinker Toji Benti Ersti, I don't know. YouTube. I don't know what this. Are you? Oh, you guys are from Belgium, Zer. I don't think I have the right accent for it either. All right, let's get through this episode. I also like this trick Mulder did about the having him focus on it and able to his pain and breathing, just to have him come back to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of episodes with Mulder being able to do stuff like that, and it really just expands his character even more.
Yeah. Again, I think the next episode, once I bring it up, I think covers more Mulder's story. And there's like these Easter eggs that are put through each episode. So far I know that his sister was abducted and he was in the room. Because there's the episode a while back that was very similar to his case his sister abduction case. And next episode, it just dives deep in more to of like what he researches, what he's into, why he's such a threat to the government, especially towards the end of the next episode where he should have been arrested and put in jail and he was let go. Not worries. And basically whoever these other individuals that are kind of like, I don't want to say watching over him. I think they just want to make sure they know his movements. Like, in a sense, better to know your enemy, have your enemy stay close than afar. In a sense, similar line the guy gave at the end of the next episode. So Mulder's story is very interesting.
Right.
I just wish I had more on Scully a little bit. Maybe that'll come later on in the seasons.
Yeah, it does. It does.
How is the X-Files rewatch for? I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. It's my little Wednesday ritual where I'll watch the episodes. I'm digging it so far. Are you going to watch these in order, incorporate the films, or watch the whole show in the films? So I'm committed to at least season 2. Didn't realize how many seasons there were, but I am committed at least the season 2. I'm going pretty fast through this, so because I'm covering 2 episodes per week, but I will be watching the films in between. So I think the first film happens after season 2. I think. I'm looking it up
real quick.
Fit in.
I think it's between season 4 and 5. The first movie.
Is it? Okay. 1998. 5 and 6. And then I want to believe takes between seasons 9 and 10. And
yeah, I didn't see that movie.
How many episodes per season for X-Files? Do they like continue with the 22 per each season, or do they some seasons are a little bit more?
It kind of drops off at times.
Okay.
And towards the later episodes, later seasons, it kind of drops off some.
I was wondering because I know some TV shows that run this long, like they'll start 22, but towards the late end, they'll kind of cut down to like 15. Like Sopranos did that too as well. So
right.
Finale 4. So maybe I am committed to at least. Fuck it, I'm committed. You know what, guys? I enjoy being here every Saturday with everybody, having my coffee, talking conspiracy theories and X-Files. So you know what? I am committed through the entire series. Unless something else comes up and everybody's like, talk about that. so as we can timestamp it, I'm at least committed. We'll get through this. We'll get through this together. Because you told me season 1 took you 1 year, right? Over on your channel to get through.
Yeah, but that's going through 2 episodes a month.
Yeah, where I'm doing 2 episodes a week throughout.
Right.
So yeah, so you know what? Why not? And anybody in the chat, by the way, if you're a content creator, you're welcome to come on any Saturday mornings you want to join me. I can always send you over the schedule and let you know which episodes, because there's a bit of a break coming up soon because I'll be traveling. So just let me know. When you finish, you should convey a panel of usual suspects and talk about the top picks. Maybe, I don't know if when I finish the entire series, I don't know if maybe. I was thinking, because you're with me on the finale for season 1, maybe seeing if anybody wants to come in for season 1 and talk about their favorite episodes. Yeah, hopefully, but who want to talk about their favorite episodes from each season. I do eventually want to do some sort of watch party. Maybe with the finale season episode. We'll see. I'm going to think about it. When you get to the cops episode, I don't know which season that is, though. We'll figure it out. Okay, let's finish this up because we have the next episode to talk about. So basically, he has Mulder nearly brings this dude to death. That's almost trying to get him to admit to things and convince. The whole time Scully's like, "You're going to give him an aneurysm."
The astronauts are still are still up there, and they have to come down at a certain angle of approach,
Yes.
or they'll burn up in that. So he's like, at the last, gets him to give some coordinates to give him, Mulder. So Mulder gets him to give some coordinates before he just completely loses it.
Right. You're right. You remember better than I did on this episode. Maybe I should watch this Friday afternoons. A little bit closer to the talking to them. I do also, I didn't have time this week, but I will closer to more. I think monster episodes, I would like to do more of a deep dive into what the myth and legend that they're based off of when I come across those episodes. But she's able to bring these astronauts in too, which is great. Everybody's lives are saved. Everybody's celebrating. And I can't. And that's pretty much it. This ghost alien. Demon. Anything else you'd like to say about this episode? And he dies, yeah. Unfortunately.
At the very end of it, he takes a header out of a window.
Yep. I think I can get to... What great chemistry, man. What a well-paced episode.
Yeah.
I am a fan. Well, with this episode, what would you rate it? Out of 5 or 10, whatever you prefer.
Out of 10, I'd give it a 7.5.
7.5? Okay. I would say so. Again, the writing's really well in this episode. Pacing's very good. The extra actors, the chemistry is there. It is a pretty creepy episode. The thought of being possessed by an entity or being from another planet that's also sabotaging your ability to expand into space. On the creepiness level for me, I'm going to give it 2 alien heads out of 5. It was pretty creepy in the possession scenes where this thing was like forming its face over the individual's face. And the fact, again, like the ability to not be able to control your body, and then people's lives are in your hands as well. I would say 2 out of 5 alien heads on the creepiness value for me. All right. Let me see if I have any other trivia for it. I think all the trivia I had for it was... this 1993 episode used footage of 3 different shuttles. The aborted first launch sequence shows the shuttle Discovery. The successful second sequence shows the ill-fated shuttle Columbia. And 2003, the 10 years after this episode premiered, the shuttle Columbia would disintegrate on re-entry due to the damaged heat tiles.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Pretty interesting. All right. So the next episode that we're going to be talking about, let me pull it up, is season 1, episode 10, Fallen Angel, aired November 19th, 1993, written by Howard Gordon and Alex, I'm going to say his last name really bad, Gansa, directed by Larry Shaw. So in this episode is... The future of X-Files project is jeopardized after Mulder secretly infiltrates the government cover-up of a UFO crash. We have some additional characters added too as well. So let me pull that episode up. Perfect. Okay. I didn't like this episode right off the bat. While inside information, courtesy of Deep Throat, which I was like, okay. Oh, so I put it together. I just put it together when I watched this episode who Deep Throat was, because I didn't catch the name initially, and he showed up in a previous episode. I'm like, that's a weird name to have as a code name for. I don't know if it comes clear of why later on, but isn't that a porno movie from the 70s, I think?
I don't know. I don't know why they chose that.
Yeah. Streaming at 5 a.m. Sunday morning is not based. Hi, Big Ship. Good morning, then. Courtesy of Deep Throat, Mulder heads off to Wisconsin, where the Defense Department is processing of a reclaiming of a downed UFO. He sets off on his own to find the crash site, only to be knocked out by a soldier. In the brig, he meets Max, a UFO enthusiast who is also arrested for being too close to the cleanup site. Mulder, who has been working on his own, is rescued by Scully, but is clearly in big trouble, faces personal conduct hearing. When Max is found dead, it's clear that there are forces within the government who will go to any lengths to keep the existence of alien life form a secret.
Wait, Max? He didn't die. Max didn't die.
That's... Why did they say... IMDb? You're weird. He got abducted, right? Towards the end. It's the weird...
He disappeared. Yeah.
That's probably why they put he died on IMDb. I'm reading this off. That's probably why they call it he died. They didn't watch the episode. Apparently not. I was like, it took me a second to realize, I'm like, wait a minute. What did you initially think this episode?
I like the creature. It's funny, we go from a ghost alien to a invisible alien. But yeah, it was and the way it kills too, it like flashes radiation at people.
Yep. I did not find this episode entertaining. I don't know why I could not get into it. I think it just didn't hit the fear buttons for me, even though I'm afraid of aliens. And while I appreciate, again, more of Mulder's story added into this, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why. It's just, it is not a bad episode. It's written fine, acted fine, pacing's fine. I don't want to say it's boring. I think to me, it's one of the more weaker episodes of this season.
Okay.
Doesn't have to do with President Nixon somehow. Deep Throat. I'm not gonna search Deep Throat because I'm sure things are gonna come up. Not everything in Deep Throat is... I don't know. I'm pretty sure there was a 70s movie called that, but okay. Sorry, nonetheless. Again, this episode gives definitely way more into Mulder's background. Scully's kind of pushed to the side in this episode.
Yeah.
These laser beam fencing are hilariously looking to me.
Yes.
Mulder and Deep Throat.
How they did that.
It looks like... Have you seen the latest Sonic movie? Sonic 3 yet?
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like the Eggman dancing scene with all the fake lasers.
Yeah, right.
So it finally... It only took 11 episodes, and this guy has been in previous episodes, but this is Deep Throat. Right here. This dude. On it. And he, in a sense, he's the one that in the later of the episode tells, like, he's the reason why Mulder basically got off clear. But he's not the cigarette dude, right? Because in the first episode there was some kind of lengthy dude who he's also in, I think, another where he's the one putting away the stuff in the Pentagon area. He's a different character, correct? He's like this, like, very... Now? He's like a very... In the first episode of this season, there's this dude that's just in the corner smoking cigarettes while Scully's being informed of... Yeah.
The cigarette man, or the smoking man, something like that.
Yeah, he's different than Deep Throat. I don't think he works...
Right, no, he's not he's not the same.
Okay, because he was the one putting away, like, the files for...
I don't think they work together, but they're like in the know of everything.
Okay. Yeah, because he was the one that would put in... He was the one that there's an episode, I don't know if it was the first episode or second, where he's in the Pentagon in the secret room, which by the way doesn't make sense to be a secret room if it's in the center of the Pentagon, but I digress. Where he's like putting away
Yeah,
the
there's a map.
tube
know
thing.
where
Yeah,
to
there's
go.
a map on the door. Yeah. And
There's
I'm
a
like,
map.
why would you put the most like secretive things of the government in the center of the Pentagon? But hey, why not? But yeah,
It was
these
for
these
fire
laser
safety.
yeah. So he's a different guy than because I get the feeling, and again, don't spoil anything for me. I get the feeling Cigarette is more of a villain to me. He comes off just maybe to me at least in the little bit I've seen of him. I feel like Deep Throat is an ally to Mulder so far, and I feel like Cigarette Guy is going to be a thorn in the side at some point. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm getting
I'm
the
just gonna
vibes of.
say yeah.
Okay. So Mulder infiltrates after finding out there's a UFO crashing, and he starts taking photos of it. He gets hit in the head by a soldier, which I saw coming. I love how it was interesting the use of light in this episode. It reminded me of the episode with the kids that were being killed off by one of them because he was told by an alien to do so. And the opening shot is like this bright light behind trees. They use that in this as well. So I'm assuming potentially they're using the same kind of forest location for multiple episodes. Or at least same shot. Who knows?
Yeah.
He gets brought in.
And it's old film camera.
Yep. Cigarette Guy and Deep Throat sounds fishy to me. It does.
The where they got the name Deep Throat was from the Watergate. It was the whistleblower at the Watergate.
All right, now I'm going to look it up.
Deep Throat.
It was also a 1972 landmark American pornography film written and directed by Gerald D'Amico. Listed in the credits as Jerry Garrett. Yeah, it's 62 minutes long. Because I remember watching a documentary because it was one of the first played at like theaters back in the 70s. Not adult theaters, like theaters would have like special showings of it. Now you know. The more you know. Crazy. Don't cover it on your channel. Don't cover it. The more you know. YouTube will
no, don't do it.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. The YouTube would be like, nope. Nope. You'd have to blur out every single probably scene. I've never seen it, but I'm just making assumptions here. And we also meet Max, who's like a fellow UFO conspiracy theorist. Which I feel like are attracted to Mulder like moths to a flame.
Yeah.
I spoiled it for myself. He returns to the series in season 4.
You do come to find out that he knows who Mulder is.
Yes, he's
he reads about him.
So it's kind of like a Reddit person finding you. He's followed Mulder's basically he's able to track it based off expenses of travel and also figure out the pseudonym that he used for a essay that Mulder had published too as well. So yeah, so he's a fan of Mulder. He read Mulder's pseudonym article in Omni magazine about the Gulf Breeze sightings. And Omni was a real magazine that covered both science and science fiction. It was published in hardcore copy editions between 1978 and 1995. The Gulf Breeze sightings were also, and I'm quotations were used in this, real. In late 1987, a Gulf Breeze, Florida resident, Ed Walters, claimed he had seen and photographed an alien spaceship craft near his home. Although some of the flying saucer enthusiasts found the photographs convincing, they were revealed as stage hoaxes several years later when the new owners of Walter's old house found a model of a UFO identical to the ones in the photos. Yeah, secret in the house. This is the discussed in Gulf Breeze UFO incident, 1996. By the way,
Maybe
this
that's
is
what the
also
government wants you to believe.
maybe they planted it there.
LOL.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Supposedly, allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, there you go.
This is also the first episode that references the line "Trust no one."
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, man, I suppose. So Max doesn't die, or is it he comes back at some point?
Correct.
These aliens, man, shifty business. Okay, without spoiling it, because you've seen the entire series, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there an actual reason why they had abducted his sister? Like, there's a reason to it, or is it just one random
Shoot.
abduction? You can answer yes or no. And that's all.
Not that I remember.
Okay. So it just
From what
basically.
I remember, I think it was just a random. Actually, no. I'll say no because
Okay.
I don't really remember, but it might bring up plot points that will spoil. So.
Okay. Because I'm curious. Because I was curious if this series will read into the fact like there's a reason she was targeted, or it's just a one-off, and that's why Mulder became who he is. Had his sister not been abducted, would he have been something like, I don't know, a doctor or a scientist or somebody who's not into conspiracies? That's what I was curious about. Scully always being the mom, always telling him
be
like
revealed.
It will be revealed. Okay, all right. The setting is a military base in Wisconsin, where it allegedly crashed. Let me see if I have what else have my notes. They encounter resistance from military personnel, notable Colonel Henderson, who's in charge of the cover-up.
And Scully is mad.
She's pissed. Well, because she's the one that has to come down and get him, bring him back, and then I can tell, even though we're 11 episodes in, and mind you, these are episodes randomly that they have. I'm sure there's it's kind of written that there's a relationship being built between the two of them. Like
What does she say?
This is her partner.
It's a downed Syrian jet or something in the middle of the United States. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
No, I don't think it was made clear about the sister, but I only watched it once. Okay, I'm just curious. We'll see. So I really want to binge this show, but I want to experience it weekly with all of you, first time. So like, I'm trying so hard not to watch ahead. I literally just watch 2 episodes per week, and that is as much as my X-File knowledge will get me to. And then, yeah, I think I will work out a way to see if, in the Discord, if I'll watch the final episode like the Wednesday before I cover it. If everybody wants to watch it together, I'll figure it out. Discord's been giving me issues, but I will figure it out. Yeah,
you don't have to go back, but when after the crash, a police officer, sees it and goes investigating, and that's when he runs into the creature, which just rushes at him, and there's this big flash of light
right here,
but it's like gives off high radiation.
Give it a minute and let it like
it's a really
back.
Cool effect. It's like you're seeing the creature's point of view, and it's like somebody handheld the camera and rushed it up and zoomed in to his face. It's really good effect.
We're almost there. Pause it right there. Give it a second, and then so YouTube doesn't ding me, since it does like to do that. Makes no sense. In a sense, I'm promoting people to go back and watch this show. So you would think they'd be like, oh, why not?
Right.
Or give more than 8 seconds. I feel like they should give a solid 10 seconds. Because anytime I try to edit a review or something, I'm just like, if I had 3 more seconds just for this scene to make sense. Oh, when it's
Yeah.
invisible in the trees, it's a little creepy. Still the weakest episode, but it's a little creepy.
Yeah.
And then he sees it rushing right at him. Oh, that's got to burn.
My eyes.
Oh, it's right even
Flashbulb in
looking
the
at it,
eyes.
right? Ah.
Yeah, but really cool effect. They did a good job
Yeah.
on that.
Well, it's a cool effect for the budgets that they've had for this first season, because I don't think they intended to be like 9 seasons of the show, playing
Yeah.
season by season. Was it? Do you work? Because you've done a little bit more deep dive than I have. Was the first season highly recognized? Like people enjoyed the first season, right? Or was it like a
so.
rough start? Okay.
I mean, me personally seeing it for the first time was like, whoa, this is really good. I like this. I mean,
And
that's
for it
as
to be on
a kid of 8 years old.
And for it to be on Fox too, on top of it, probably helped
Yeah.
as well. There's 11 seasons. I've been thinking there's been
Yes.
All right, folks,
They
are
did-
in
they
for a
did-
ride.
2 recent seasons. There's the first. I mean, there was a long break, and then they come back with Mulder and Scully, and it's like 6 episodes, then 10 episodes, and those
Yeah.
are the last 2.
6 episodes. Season 9 has 19 episodes. So they shrinked by a couple.
Yeah.
And it looks like season 8 is the last one to have 21 episodes. I'm looking at this fast, so I don't see anything. Yeah, other than that, 1 through 7 all have 22 episodes, it looks like. Dang. Season 1 to me looks like it, and granted, this is IMDb. It has an average rating between a 6 to a 7 out of 10, but there's a couple episodes in season 1 that have higher. So Tombs, which I know you when I had posted, was one that people are like, oh, can't wait. Darkness Falls has an 8, and Beyond the Sea. Oh, and Eve too, which is next week. Next week I'll be covering episode 11 and 12, Eve and Fire. So interesting.
I just when I was going through them, the ratings for the episodes did not jive to me. I don't know where they're getting the ratings from, but I don't know.
Yeah, because like Fallen Angel has a 7.8, and it's not bad. I just think it's one of the weaker ones so far I've seen. But Space to me was definitely creepier, and it has a 6.2. So I don't know how they've been rating this stuff. Rachel says she liked the new stuff. Radiation poisoning does not sound fun. No, it doesn't.
No.
It does not sound fun. This is where he meets his fanboy. Max, who doesn't die, by the way. So I whoever wrote this storyline description needs to be fired. Call it just say he's abducted, not dead, because I'll give a little bit of leeway, because even in the cop in the beginning, he's basically like incinerated, almost radiation. So maybe that's why they think that happened to Max. Okay, so maybe he does die in a sense, because they do kind of play it off like he's never coming back. I did spoil it for myself that he is coming back. Look at all these alien books, space. Those are the guys I don't like. These grays. These are the ones that freak me out. Yeah. I can handle like xenomorphs. I can handle like different alien creature designs, but when you do the simple grays, I'm out. I'm out. No, thank you. I also think this episode, Mulder realizes how big he is in the community as well. to have somebody who knows who he is, where he's going, to know that people are tracking what he's doing, in the conspiracy theory world. I think he's realizing that he has a bigger footprint in this than he did.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in his trailer, and as he's talking, Scully's looking around. It's like, oh, he's on all these medications for schizophrenia. He's crazy.
Yeah, she was a little bit more. Usually, she has a little bit of an opening to believe in certain things Mulder says, but I feel like this episode she was not having it. Maybe she was just pissed that she had to go basically retrieve him and bring him back, or the fact that he went off on his own instead of including her.
Still at this point, she's supposed to be spying on Mulder and reporting back to her superiors.
I always got it, though, even though she's supposed to be doing that even from episode 1, she kind of leans more in Mulder's favor. Just based off. But in this episode, she comes off as, I hate to say this word, very bitchy, very much like, I'm sick. And I think, and looking back at it, because she has that relationship with him, she's probably pissed because he left her behind instead of filling her in and bringing her along.
Yeah.
Also, if she's pregnant, if Gillian Anderson's pregnant during this time, which in this first season, she's probably limited to the amount of time she can be on screen too, without giving it away.
Right.
That's why all the big overcoats and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, the big coats. I can even see it in her face. She's a little plumper.
Yep.
But I will say, if nobody told me she was pregnant during this, I would not have guessed. I was just thought she was dressed for the time.
Yeah, so did I.
Find out about the radiation poison. Yeah. Was it a simpler time? It looked like a simpler time. I was born at the tail end.
The tail end of the... No, not the 80s. The 90s. I meant the 90s. I meant 90s.
Oh, okay. I was born at the...
My dad had some wild ties.
I was born at the tail end of the 80s. So I'm a 90s kid.
Yeah.
And even the 90s.
I was 86. I was born in 86.
So you're only a year older than me. Okay. I think post social media, not post internet. I think, I'm sorry, pre social media is where it started. I think had we just had internet and not social media, times would have stayed simpler. But I also think we wouldn't be as well informed. It's like a pro and a con, right? The pro was if we didn't have social media and the internet, life was a little bit simpler. People were more into their communities. You kind of knew your neighbors. You had the same friends. You didn't get to explore outside of like your area unless you did so.
Unless you're like pen pals with people.
Yeah, but the con is I think a lot of things win above the American people's heads. And I think being we're too well informed to the point where some things just might be real, but they don't come. Everybody's a skeptic at this point. You look good for 26, Rachel. God bless you. I wish I was 26. God bless you. I wish, but thank you. You earned your angel wings from me today.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, you and I grew up in a time where it went from, if you missed a show that came out, you missed it. There was no, we can watch it whenever we want. Something comes out, I'll watch it when I can.
I think the internet, streaming service especially, ruined the water cooler discussion, because I think the last time anybody had true water cooler discussion was Game of Thrones. I really think that was the last series to have such a phenomenon that weekly everybody was like, who's going to die next week? And where nowadays it's the binge model where, okay, we're going to drop the entire series for 8 hours and people are going to watch 8 hours of
Or
this.
people wait till because it's just like 8 episodes. People just wait till it's over and then binge watch it.
Yep. Pre VCR days. Yep. Where if you missed, you had to ask your parents or somebody to record it. And then TVO came later on where you could record it to your TV, like the system. But yeah, those were the days. I miss those. Sometimes I enjoy the binge model because some days where I feel like I have nothing to do, I don't have to do anything for work, I don't have to do anything for YouTube. I can sit down and watch a couple of episodes, or I can watch a couple of movies and stuff. But I miss the whole water cooler discussion each week of talking about episodes. So
yeah, me too.
Like I'm covering Stranger Things on Fridays on my channel, and we're watching 2 episodes per week right now leading up to the next season. But when the season drops, instead of being able to watch an episode, talk about it, and conspiracy, like come up with theories, we already have everything laid out for us. So I feel like there's not and I also think that's one of the reasons why TV shows get canceled so fast.
Yeah.
Is you don't allow
I mean,
the audience to catch up.
What we're doing now is the modern water cooler talk.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's why I wanted to stick to just 2 episodes a week. As much as I do want to binge forward, I'm like, you know what? I want to have this discussion because I want to discover cool things about this series that even though most of the people in the chat, people have seen it, they know iconic episodes that are going to be coming down the pipeline. But to me, I don't have any spoilers. I don't know what happens to Scully, Mulder. I don't know really honestly anything about this series because this is I grew up with my dad. My dad's not really into sci-fi, fantasy kind of thing, X-Files. So like it was never put on my radar to watch it as a kid. Like he was very much over us to me and my sisters of like what we could watch and what we couldn't. And this was just not his vibe. He's not a big sci-fi fantasy dude. It's just not his thing. And I've never had this spoiled for me. So I think because when I finally reached the age where I could watch this stuff on my own, just never came to like, oh, watch the X-Files.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it. It's just, I like the fact that I'll be discovering things per week and have actual natural reactions instead of like, oh shoot, someone died. They're never going to come back. Oh, they come back in this later episode. So I watched 3 seasons of the show uploaded in 2 days. Jeez. Well, even now, there's a show that I want to cover, but I don't know if I have time. I think I'm going to just go wait till next week to maybe talk about it. There's season 3 of the Yellow Jackets that just dropped. But they're doing, and it's also to me, this weird concept of dropping 2 episodes or 3 episodes for the first week and then going to weekly. Like, why? Just drop weekly or drop them all. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Make up your mind.
Yeah. Which is weird because I feel X-Files does well as a water cooler discussion show. So I hope they take that into fact if they're rebooting it to do weekly episodes of it versus dropping all 8 episodes in one. I have no idea what. Oh, go ahead.
Has a seizure. Has seizures, and he's got blood coming out of his ears.
I like this shot with it as much as I don't like seeing him with seizures. The anatomy of a mass UFO abduction sitting right there at his head.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Wes.
Hello there.
Scully's still like, all right, time to pack up your bags, dude. Let's go. You've got a hearing I need to bring you back to. And Mulder's like, yeah, we'll go. We'll go. We'll get there. We'll get there. Nice shiner. trying to find the
So
scene.
Scully's
Yeah, here's some more.
even doubly mad because she's been in the hospital all night,
Yep. Oh,
huffing radiation burns. Oh, poor
that's
you.
so blood
That
pouring out.
That looks like a figure.
It is right here. There's something here that's attached. This bottom part, his lobe is Hibbs, but it's right here, and it's probably this device here. So there's probably a wire, either something down back behind the hair hidden to pump that out. Yeah, because there's the hole right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Ooh. Have corn syrup in your ear.
Corn syrup.
She's oobly mad. Yeah, I really think it's just because he didn't take her along. But you're right, like she's still in a sense spying on him, and he knows that too, so he's not going to open up fully. The ear looks fake. I don't know what the special effects behind it. Yeah, it's the attached fake ear with the little hole in the bottom. Look, see now too. That's his actual ear. They just painted some blood on him.
Yeah.
What a hairstyle. Yeah, colored corn syrup in your ear. Oof. I don't know. That's how I was taught to make blood, was corn syrup with red and blue food coloring. You need the blue, because if you just use red, you're just going to get orange blood. You need a little bit of blue to kind of mellow it out, folks. So when your kids make fake blood for Halloween.
In the 70s, why it looks orange, they didn't put the blue in there.
Yep. So if your kids are trying to make fake blood for Halloween, remember, it's red and just like a little bit of blue. You don't want purple, but you just want a little bit of richness throughout it to get it a little bit fake. Now, depends on how old the blood is too. You want it aged. This dude is such an asshole in this episode.
Yeah.
Granted, he's got his orders, right? He's got to cover this up. He's got Mulder messing around with things. So, yeah.
So Max is kind of, I don't know if he's in a trance or being controlled. Seems like he's being controlled to go to this place.
Yeah. That's what I picked up on when I was watching it, that it felt like he was being drawn to it out of his own free will. But yeah. And then there's this scene. Where is it? They're all trying to find them. They know that Mulder's broken in, and it's they see him on the thing. Yeah, but where is it? Mulder's the only one which sees this. And granted,
yeah, you can see the two people, but then there's something else behind stuff.
Yeah,
dealing with them.
This is pretty good CGI. Not gonna lie, this is pretty good. It got me for a second when I was watching it. It's interesting to me because I'm realizing the phenomenon of X-Files where Mulder gets to see all the really creepy stuff and Scully's only a minute behind. So she never really gets to see any of it.
What happened
there's the shadow episode, or the one where it's the ghost that's protecting his former secretary, and she's being attacked and the ghost is saving her, and he's choking one of her attackers, and they hear her screaming outside. So Mulder and Scully pull up, and Mulder races in. Scully's there. I'm like, what are you doing? Tying your shoe? Like, Mulder walks in and able to see this thing holding this, like, Vader force choking this dude. And Scully's only like a second behind. And I'm like, that was not written really well enough for that to be believable to me. But I see the pattern of Mulder always gets to see this stuff, which just secures his faith in the fact that this stuff exists, where Scully is always just like a minute or two behind. It never gets to see it.
In that same episode where the ghost like throws all the papers everywhere, Scully comes in and is like, you didn't have to make such a mess.
Yep. Which again counters the fact that she wears as a cross, so she has to have faith in something. If you're going to have faith in God and miracles and Jesus and the story of Christ and stuff, you're telling me that ghost, aliens, creatures can't exist either. So, or at least give a little bit of faith to it.
Yeah.
But I think her actual faith to me is why she does give Mulder a little bit of grace on a lot of this stuff. Because she believes in something that she true-heartedly believes exists. So if he believes in this as well, I think that's why she gives him that grace of, okay, maybe I don't agree with you, maybe because I haven't seen it for myself, but who am I to judge somebody on their faith, in a sense? His faith being like UFOs
Right.
and extraterrestrial and stuff. So, yeah. Poor Max, he
Right.
gets zapped out with just his hat. Which is funny that his hat was the thing left. Which tells me there's different versions of aliens, or I can't tell if there's the overarching aliens that have been messing with Mulder's life. I can't tell if all the aliens are incorporated with each other, like they all are here for the same reason, or different. Because I feel the episode prior to us, Ghost, that alien was different than what these aliens are doing, and why they're here. So could they be from different planets? Different existence.
Maybe.
And there goes Max. All is left is his hat.
And Mulder.
And Mulder, who got to witness it. And Mulder trying to tell him, like, hey, like, they're here for a reason. They took him. Like, we should be, in a sense, we should be working together. And this dude's like, make sure you arrest him.
Yeah.
So. What a jerk.
Arrest him.
But he goes for his hearing, and it's pretty, like, before Deep Throat shows up again, it's pretty convincing that they're about to let Mulder go, right? Yeah, I know. He looks so young. David looks so young in this show. Both of them. Gillian Anderson, too. About to be fired from the FBI. This is their in to get rid of the X-Files, and it's Deep Throat that, in a sense, comes out to save him from being let go. And I think, let me put the subtitles on. Yeah, and they don't understand. I thought the community case was airtight. We were in the last chance we had to get rid of him. Give it a minute. I know, it made me LOL too. I thought it was an IMDb mistake when the first time he showed up on an episode I was covering. I was like, they wouldn't really name a character Deep Throat, but I guess, yeah, if it's from Watergate, it makes sense. Tracking.
Yeah.
Mulder's work is singular passion poses a most unique dilemma. So in a sense, Mulder's like their best asset against what's being built up here with the whole aliens conspiracy in the government. That's what I picked up on. He says it
to this guy. It's better to have him where we can somewhat control him than to have him out there by himself on his own.
I'm gonna give it a second. So, yeah, basically, you keep your enemies close. Mm-hmm. Trust no one. Do you believe? I think a lot of people don't trust anybody nowadays. The less danger than what? Having them exposed to the wrong people. So that tells me there's another group at battle here. It's not only these two, like the committee, his direct boss, Deep Throat, but there's another faction that hasn't come into play yet that are what he quotes as the wrong people.
Is Deep Throat, like from the Watergate, the whistleblower. He's kind of a whistleblower to Mulder.
Yeah, because he helped him in the an episode prior.
Right.
Leading him to it.
But this makes you think that, is he really someone to trust?
I would
because
say
he's
he comes
working
off
with
more.
this guy.
I would say he comes off more trusting because he's able to have them keep Mulder than the smoking dude. The smoking dude, I haven't even seen him since that episode, and he still is in my brain as like, oops, something shifty about this dude. I don't like him.
Yep.
And I think it's keep your friends close, Mr. McGrath, and then it was and keep your keep your enemies closer. Yeah. If you believe in demons and you believe in angels and vice versa. The poll is asking if aliens are demons, angels. I don't remember what else the poll. Anyway, hi Vex, good morning. Good morning. Is the theory that aliens could be angels or demons? I don't know what I put as a third option, but anyway, yep. Trust no one. This dude just looks pissed. He's like, we could have gotten red. Yeah. Ghost, demons, or angels? Thank you. Or if aliens were ghosts, thank you, Rick. Thank you so much. But yeah, that is episode 10, Fallen Angel. Not bad, but not the strongest episode, I would say. I don't have any additional trivia for it. Final thoughts on it, Jacob?
It does give you more plot, more
yes.
History on Mulder, more clout into what's going on behind the scenes and stuff. So yeah, that was cool.
What I'm currently seated for Captain America 4. I'm watching you on silent. Well, I'm sorry. I don't know. First of all, not my Captain America. So call it what it is. Nice. Anyway, what would you rate this episode out of 10?
I'd probably give it either a 6 or 6.5. It's enjoyable, but it's not the best of episodes. But yeah, I'd probably give it a solid 6.
I'm right there with you on that. I don't. It falls so into me. It's one of the weaker episodes of the season. There's only a couple of them so far for me. It does, like you said, give a little bit more into Mulder's history and past and into his storyline a little bit more so, like the overarching, instead of a filler episode of the week. Not very scary, right, in my opinion. So I would give this a 1 alien head out of 5 on the creepiness factor. Still well written, still well paced. It's just, I think I maybe missed Scully and his dynamic a little bit more when they're investigating instead of him being one off on his own.
Yeah.
So, well, let me see where the poll is, and then we will get out of here. Let me see. Let's see. Who voted for what? Okay, so out of 17 votes, 18% of people believe aliens are ghosts. 71% believe they are demons, and 12% believe they are angels. Very nice. All right, cool. Well, this was fun. I liked having you on with me today, Jacob. Thank you so much for joining me. What do you got going on next?
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tuesday is Deep Space Nine Dominion War. Just going over the overarching story plot of Deep Space Nine, which is the Dominion War. And we'll be going over episode 6 and 20 of season 3, Tuesday.
And I'm dropping.
And then I'll be on Roman's show. I'll be on Roman's show Thursday for Minority Report.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I haven't seen that movie in a long. I don't even think I've seen the movie. I think I have. It doesn't have Tom Cruise in it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I did drop your link in the chat. Everybody watching, please go subscribe over to Jacob's channel. He does awesome popcorn talks. He does cover X-Files each month, movies as well. Has a great panel every month on his on certain movies, some movies that I've never heard of or seen, and they're always a good time when I'm over there watching or on the panel. So please go subscribe to him. He should be at 500 subs already. So let's get that happening. So again, thank you so much, Jacob, for joining me. And you'll be back hopefully next week with me talking episode 11 and 12.
Yes. Cool.
Awesome. As for myself, I'll be on Niet's channel later on talking about Galaxy Quest, which is the closest thing I've ever gotten to watching Star Trek. So it's literally I've never seen any Star Trek. I've seen one episode of Star Trek a long time ago, of the original, but I've never seen anything past that. I know everybody recommends Deep Space Nine, I think, is one of them. But I've never seen it. But Galaxy Quest, I love that movie. I've watched that movie multiple times. It's a comfort movie, so it is the closest thing to Star Trek that I've ever seen.
If you do start watching Star Trek, you'll pick up on things in that movie more that are like from Star Trek.
But here's the thing: there's so much of Star Trek. Where do I begin?
I started with Deep Space Nine because that's what came out when I was young. But yeah, but you could start out with that.
My husband wants to. He always recommends Deep Space Nine. Yeah.
Yeah. I still haven't gone through about. I've only gone halfway through Star Trek, the original series.
I am. Would you recommend I do Deep Space Nine, or what I was originally going to start with my husband was Stargate?
I'd go with Stargate first.
Okay, yeah, because he won't watch Battlestar Galactica, which is on my list as well to watch. But he said he's willing to watch Stargate. Now, I don't think I'm going to be covering these shows. These are just for me to watch. I don't know. Maybe we'll see in the future. So if it has some horror at it, the reason why I decided X-Files is X-Files has some horror elements to it. So maybe we'll see. We'll see. Maybe once I get horror with Nads up to 1K, I'll start my own sci-fi channel or segments and just do sci-fi stuff. So. But all right. Well, again, everybody, please go follow Jacob in the description. All his links are there. I just dropped his link into the chat as well. Please go follow him. Great content over there. And we'll be back here same time, same place for episode 11 and 12. Again, I'll be on Niet's later. And then Horror Tuesday. I have a guest on talking about her favorite horror movie, Moxie Dame. And then I will also be back next week with... Stranger Things. With it being Valentine's Day yesterday and me having to get an infusion, just didn't work in the cards. So thank you guys again. Does the feel in your body controlling you sound like horror enough? Pretty close. I'll check it out. All right, guys. Until then, stay